most of the corners on this track are a little bit later entry than most people would think they are, just to give you a heads up. Yep, stay on the left and make your way up to the first corner. Kiss the candy canes about the last third.
Okay.
That's your exit. Yeah. Again, you want to catch this candy cane half to the last third, depending on what speed you're going. This corner entry is to the extreme right here. Yeah, be patient. Don't go right to the candy cane. Just leave the car out a little bit, and you want to stay about where you are here now. Okay. And then hit the apex there. Your corner exit is up at the end of the candy cane. Yeah, stay on the right side of the track here. You can put a little bit more speed in if you want. This one is dead set on the candy cane, the apex. You want to be over. Left here now. You need to be way over there. Yeah, now bring it in. You have to bring it into the corner. Next time around we'll get a little closer. Okay. Yeah. See where there's the two different colors in pavement? Keep the right side tires on that line. Okay. That'll give you the line through this corner. Yeah, keep it to the right. After the apex, come out mid-track and then go over to your left. Way over to the left. This is a really slow corner. Slow it right down and bring it in. Our apex is way over here. Oh, I see. Yeah. This is going to go a lot faster if you don't mind. I'll drive you around for a lap or two.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and then you can visually sort of spot where I'm placing the car.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, and just so you're not wasting your time here on the track, right? So okay. Our exit is out here. Just hand out the window, straight out the window. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll just do a quick driver change here.
All right.
Just go up into the paddock area there where we started. Yeah, once you see it, you'll understand the flow through the corners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just here?
Yeah, just here is good.
Sorry. I love it when other people drive my car with passion.
Oh, okay. Well, no, we're not going to try and break any track records here today.
Right.
No, I want you to see the lines first. In a little bit early. Brake right about here, and then you take your turn in. is the late apex corner right there.
Okay.
And then you just let the car work its way right out to the edge here, light braking, and again it's a late apex right here, and let it go right to the end of the candy cane. Then we go over to the extreme right, and you have to be patient on this corner. Looks like you're going to drive off of it, but you don't. The car will just come around, just like this. One steering input gets you right through the whole thing.
Okay, wow, I see.
See? It's easier on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing here. Look for the apex. Get into the apex right there. Let the car move over to the right. A lot of people go in too early on this corner, but when you commit, then you do have to turn in. That's the apex right there, and it just wanders right out to the right, to the left side. And again, this one here, you follow that line, the color, in the pavement.
Oh, okay.
I'm not working the steering wheel hardly at all. There's a lot of corners, but that doesn't mean it has to be a lot of work.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so right in about here, and then you commit. Bring it right in there. Right, that's the apex. You just drove over it. Braking zone is right in here. Stay on the left, and then just gently bring it in. You want to aim for the end of the candy canes here, not any earlier. Okay. Stay to the left, just chicane through here. Coming out on the right side. Here again, it's a slow corner, so slow corners are slow. And you place the car right there. Being patient. Looking for it. That's the apex. We just drove through the apex there. Let it come over towards the wall. If I get it right, I should only turn the steering wheel once through the corner. And you can carry some not bad speed.
You've got good even pressure on the brakes.
What's that?
You have good even pressure on the brakes.
Oh, yeah, well, you have to have a soft touch everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So we're just nonchalantly driving around here in fourth gear, like nothing.
Yeah.
Sort of starting to make sense to you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, I'll finish this lap off, we'll go in, and let you do some driving. How's that?
Thank you.
But if you're starting to get a sense that the corner entries are a little later than you would normally think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're not driving a go-kart, right? generally don't apply the parking brake.
Yeah, someone told me that since
Yeah.
in the first year.
Yeah. Or just, you know, if the car's not rolling, just leave it in neutral.
Okay.
Like what we're doing now for
Yeah.
driver change up.
Okay.
I moved your seat back a bit, so.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to stay with you until you get it.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes that just brings you up to speed a little quicker if I show you, as opposed to try and distract you while talking.
Yeah.
Okay, just wait for her to wave you on. We can pull up and then she'll...
Okay. Do I pull up now?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, get up a little closer to her and then she'll wave us on when it's clear. There we go. Turn it in though. Yeah. You can come in a little bit more next time, okay?
Okay.
Yep. Slow it right down.
And this one.
A little bit early on this one, maybe.
Well, this one's the one that's one fluid motion, right?
What's that?
This was the one that's supposed to be one
Yeah.
turn all the way through.
Yeah. You gotta make the apex.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Difficulty seeing the entry points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one I slow.
Yeah, bring it right in, bring it right in. Slow down now, slow down, slow down. This is a high-speed corner, so you've got to make sure you get it right. Bring it in, right into the right in, and let it drift out. Yeah. downshift a third of the way into most of the corners.
Yeah.
So if you don't rev match 100% at that point, what are the rear tires doing?
And they're going to start spinning.
What's that?
They're going to start going spinning.
Well, no, but what's happening to the rear tires when you're downshifting?
Oh, they're not.
They're going at a slower rate than your front tires.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you've perfectly rev matched.
Right.
Okay, so they'll be doing 80 kilometers in the front, and they could be doing 50, 60 in the back. So that's a little bit like pulling the handbrake partway through the corner. You weren't going at speeds that you were overcoming the grip of the tires.
Here?
Yeah. So you weren't over driving the tires, but if you were at the limit, that kind of technique will put you in the weeds.
Okay.
Yeah, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna induce a ton of oversteer.
Right.
Right. You're gonna. It's like pulling the handbrake on the rear tires.
Okay.
So next session when we go out, don't worry about going fast. Okay. Let's worry about placing the car and the downshift technique just before the corner. So typically what you do is you use a lot of brake force initially because you need to slow a car down for a corner.
Yeah.
Just as you're transitioning off of the brakes, okay? Just, I would say, I'm trying to give you something that you can relate to.
Yeah.
Before you turn in, you need to have brought the speed down using the brakes.
Before I turn.
Before you turn.
Okay, not in the turn.
Yeah, we'll worry about trail braking later on.
Okay.
Initially, we'll just get our speeds, our corner entry speeds down in a straight line.
Okay.
And you need to do your shift, if you need to downshift, in that straight line. So you do 90% of your braking, right? Then you downshift, and then you transition to brake again if you need to. You really shouldn't need to. You should have kind of balance the car out with the braking at that point, but in the event that you need to, you have a little bit more room to scrub some more speed off with the brakes, not with the downshift.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right? You don't want to use your transmission to slow your car down. The only reason you need to shift gears is to find the appropriate gear for the speed that you're going at.
Okay.
So if we were in 5th gear going into a 3rd gear corner, we need to get through 2 of those gears,
Okay.
right, before we get back on the accelerator. So downshifting mid-corner like that, like I say, you have to be perfect with rev matching, and you're doing 2 things where you should only be doing 1. You should be steering and looking for where you want to put the car in the corner, and then where you want to exit the corner. So you're busy downshifting when you should be looking for the apex with the steering wheel.
Ahead. Okay.
Right? So now you have 1 hand on the steering wheel, where you should really have 2 to give you the more finite control, because you got 1 hand is over there, the other hand is here, right? Yeah. So we'll just smooth out your techniques.
Okay.
That'll go a long way towards balancing the car, because ideally, if this is the car, right, we're going into the corner. If it's a left-hand turn, the chassis is going to do this, right? It's going to pitch a little bit to the left.
Mm-hmm.
You want to keep that inclination all the way through to the apex, because you've now established the grip that tire gives you, that this tire gives you, this tire and this tire. Otherwise, you wouldn't be driving the line, right? You'd be going wide on the corner, so you're overdriving the grip. So it's taken the set. When you're shifting, it's now doing until you get back on throttle.
Oh, because of the top. Yeah, right.
Okay? So now you're asking this tire that's happy with the grip to lose grip, right? While you're still turning.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And you're putting additional grip on the back, which you may not need. You need it on the front because you're turning. I don't know. Well, with go-karting, you'd be left foot braking all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you're doing, is you're loading up that car, or that front tire. If you need, well, actually, no, you got rear brakes, but still, you're taking a set in the cart, right? If you're off and on the brake, the cart's going to start like bouncing across the corner, right? You don't have any suspension in it, except for the sidewalls of your tires, right? But here you have suspension, so you're going to be loading the tire through the suspension. If you've been able to attain the level of grip to get you into the corner, you don't want to give that grip up by doing a shift, because it's going to do this now. Then you have to gain that grip again. So you're working a lot through the corner, and possibly if the wheel speed here doesn't match the wheel speed there, these become brakes for a moment, right? Until you transition back onto throttle.
And at speed you go into
that's what's going to happen, just like doing this. Yeah, so we need to get our downshifting done at the braking zone coming in, right? Scrub off most of your speed on the brakes, do a quick downshift, and then finish braking after that if need be, if you're still not slow enough for the corner entry, right? I'll take you out for a couple of laps, and you should probably find that I was a little bit smoother out there than you were.
Yeah.
Not forget the placement of the car, but just the pitch.
Well, I heard my tires and I didn't hear them when you were driving.
Yeah, and we were arguably going a little quicker when I was driving.
Yeah.
Because I drove most of this in 4th gear, right? And we're not trying to set lap records, and we weren't lugging the engine, okay? So I drove all except for the 2 slow bits, I drove those in 2nd gear, okay? So the problem is, when you dive into a corner, if you don't know that corner, you're reacting to the corner. So to be fast, to be smooth, easier on you, easier on the car, you need to be proactive. Meaning, I know exactly where the car should be at any one point through this corner, and I know how much yaw or pitch the chassis and the tires can handle before I start to drift the wheels a little bit, right? Yeah. So let's take some time this morning and lay that down, so it becomes a bit more muscle memory for you. Okay. Then in the afternoon, you can start to challenge yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, you may go a little bit quicker up to the corner, but the speed through the corner, you don't want to play with that too much, because that'll cause you to spin out.
Yeah.
Right? So just mentally in your mind, remember, once the car takes the set, I want to hold that set. I don't want to do any driver inputs that are going to cause it to do this or this or this or this, because now the tires are like, it's almost like an animal on ice. It's trying to, balance itself. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's no real safety concerns or anything out there. It's just, I think you need to blend your talents a little bit differently, right?
Okay.
Yeah, for this purpose. I don't know. You drive cars in a competitive mode?
Not car. The karting I do.
The karting you do, yeah.
But not cars.
But that's a different piece of equipment. It has 4 tires.
Well,
right?
totally different weight. Balance,
everything. You don't have suspension in it. All you're doing is just loading up the sidewall flex in your tire, which is not much anyway, right? Here you have suspension, so you have to work with it.
Yeah.
It'll give you ultimately more grip than you will ever get in a kart because of that.
Yeah.
Right? Whether you realize it or not, it will give you ultimately more grip. So a way to really make a car difficult to handle is to put a larger sway bar on the back, let's say, more than what was there factory.
Yeah.
Then the rear gets stiffer, so that the suspension is less compliant. You're more inclined to lift one tire on the inside of the corner because of that. So whatever grip this tire could give you to successfully do the corner, you've now taken away from it, because you've stiffened up the rear end. The reverse happens on the front. If you put a bigger bar in the front to try and keep the car dead level through a corner, all of a sudden the inside tire doesn't get loaded up as much because the coil spring can't push down. It's resisting against the sway bar. So you have less pressure on the tire. The best way to get maximum grip out of the tire is to put as much weight on it as you can, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you understand that you're sharing that grip amongst the four corners of the car, right? So a tire will give you, let's say for example, 1 G of grip. Okay. If you are doing like threshold braking and you are at 95% of the grip that's available in braking, and then you turn, and that turn, the G-force that you're trying to create is about 30% of what the tire can give you. You have about a 25% deficit because you were using 95% to brake.
Yeah.
You only have 100%. Now you can divide that up in any way you want. Grip for steering, like lateral grip, acceleration, or braking. But you won't get 300% out of a tire.
Yeah.
Right? So once you've committed to like a high percentage for one function, you can't make demands from the other possible functions. You will be unsuccessful, either in your braking, your steering, or your accelerating. One of those three is going to be less than what you would like to see. And that causes you to push wide in the corner, right? Not be able to make the apex. Or the rear end starts to come around on you, right? Or like if you lock up the front tires, you basically have given away 70% of the grip of the tires.
Yeah. They
just skid right along. So you're just following the asphalt at that point, irregardless of where you want to go. Yeah. So when you give up grip, that's happening to you in the corners. You need to get over here, but oh, I've gone too fast. I'm relying on the brakes. I'm downshifting when I should have downshifted earlier, right? Just give that a little bit of time to think in, and we'll work on that.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, it'll only benefit you for any other driving that you do that's non-kart related.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, even on the street. Like so many people lose the car when they're trying to avoid something only because they've done too many inputs too severely.
Yeah.
So they get the initial turn in, right? And then they don't catch the car. And then the rear end swings around, right? Or there's just all sorts of different permeations that can happen.
Or turn and jam on the brakes.
Exactly, right? So anyway, it's all a learning and a refining process. And each car is a little bit different than another car.
Yeah.
Depends on your tires, depends on this, depends on that, you know. But as a driver, you have to start to develop a sense for where a car has strengths and where it has weaknesses. So you capitalize on the strengths and you manage the weaknesses, right? Like some cars turn in on a dime, whereas others, not so much. So asking for a lot of speed on a turn in is only going to cause you difficulties, excessive wear on your tires, this, that, and the other thing, right?
Yeah.
So anyhow,
all right.
I'm not going to bore you with too many details, but
that's all right. I appreciate it.
We'll keep working on it through the day if you don't mind.